Rockefeller infamously said, "The key to success is to own nothing, but to control everything." And if you look at the last 200 years, the playbook has not changed. Uber doesn't own any taxis, but that didn't stop them from building a $52 billion a year business. Shopify doesn't own any e-commerce brands. That didn't stop them from building an $11 billion a year company. OpenTable doesn't own any restaurants, but that didn't stop them from building a $400 million a year company. And with my company Dermis, I don't own any aesthetic clinics, which are my clients. But by being the middleman, controlling all of their patients, data points, and transactions, I've been able to comfortably scale to $80,000 per month at a sub 2% churn rate and get a pipeline full of leads, a calendar full of sales calls, all by mastering the art of being the middleman, which is the playbook I'm going to reveal to you in this video, and is also the playbook my team begged me not to reveal. But if you are sick and tired of not being able to see true exponential growth, it's because you try to force client retention through contract agreements with your clients, legally binding them, instead of letting the client retention happen as a natural byproduct of just simply controlling the cards and presenting your clients the illusion to being able to cancel anytime. So this is the video you need to watch if you want to achieve decade-long retention, and what I learned from running this exact type of business myself, so that you can apply it even if you have no technical skill, which I certainly don't have. Now, if that sounds too good to be true, it's because it is. I already know that half of you will click on that Mark Tilbury AI dropshipping video on your sidebar. I already know it. It's fine. You can click away. But for the rest of you that don't have TikTok brain, let's dive in. So the key to decade-long retention without any legally binding contracts, which is, by the way, something I used to do with my agency and failed miserably, is by increasing your switching costs. Switching costs are the cost associated with canceling your service or your software. In other words, does your business pass the credit card renewal test, which is that if your clients renewed their credit cards, are you one of the first business they would go to update their billing details on? If the answer is no, you need to watch this video. You have some work to do. So here are 3 ways to increase your switching costs according to Y Combinator, which is a private equity company that has been behind some of the biggest companies in the world, like Shopify, Airbnb, and lots of other companies. Obviously, they are smarter than you. They are smarter than me. So we should listen to them and not be arrogant in this whole process. So the first one is transaction layer control. So for example, you go on Shopify, you start a free trial. The next thing you know, it becomes the thing you use on a daily basis. Why? Because Shopify is the middleman between your clients and the money, right? So your clients are going to be transacting with your business, and this is Shopify right here. They control the transaction layer. This is extremely powerful. So this is something we personally do within our business. And bonus points if you become not only just the transaction layer, but the recurring transaction layer. So for example, within our software, which is a mobile app for aesthetic practices that enables the clinic's clients to make purchases through this app. So we give people the ability to purchase a membership so that they can subscribe to the clinic through our platform. Think about how insanely powerful that is. So the switching costs here that we increase is that if you have 100 members paying you $200 a month through the Dermis platform, are you ever going to cancel that software? Of course not. Not because it's a software that can't be replicated with AI, but because it's a software where all of your transactions, all of your recurring billing is happening through that thing. So if you were to cancel that, that means you're going to cancel your monthly recurring revenue, because there is no way to transfer that every single person's recurring billing transactions onto a different system. That's the switching costs, okay? So this is the most powerful one. And by the way, if you watch this entire video, I'm going to show you how, as an agency owner, a coach or consultant, or really someone without any technical knowledge, you can take advantage of these switching costs tactics that I'm giving you without building or vibe coding your own software. So you just have to stick around to the end to get that. The second method is through data and user history lock-in. So we give our clients a dashboard through which they can see every single transaction of every single client, when the client has visited, when the client has claimed a reward. And on top of that, so their patients have an account, they have points that they accumulate over time. They have cash balance inside of this account. They have different rewards that they accumulate over time. So do you think the clinic owner can just, with all of this data from, let's say 400 of your patients are using this app, 400 of your patients have a certain amount of points, have cash in their app, have rewards in their app. Do you think the business owner will say, no, we're going to switch away to something else? That's impossible, right? That's impossible. The costs to switch are way too high, because it means for them, their entire business literally burns down. Every single patient is now going to attack them and ask them, where is my cash balance? Where are all my points? I have to restart again from zero. What is this? This is a scam, right? And so they have that responsibility to not cancel and to keep offering them this service. So this is extremely powerful, and this is something we use within our business. The third one is network effects. This is used by a company like Meta. So if you use Instagram and you want to stay in touch with your friends, or you want to see what they're doing right now, well, you're going to need Instagram. And if you delete Instagram, well, you delete access to your friends. Same thing with with WhatsApp. If you delete WhatsApp, how are you going to communicate with your friend? You can't. So the switching cost is that by canceling Instagram, by canceling WhatsApp, well, you cancel your friendship, right? And so you can't really do that. Another example of a software that does that in B2B is Slack. Slack has so many components within it that once your entire team uses Slack, it's like for you to switch away to another thing, well, that thing better be good, because inside of Slack, we have, all of our previous chats. We have all of our integrations with all these different notifications popping up. For example, when a client is canceling, that notification shows up in what shows up in Slack. It's not going to show up automatically in any other tool, right? So that's another switching cost you can take advantage of. There you go. Now, we don't personally use this too much. We do kind of use it arguably when every single patient is on the platform. So for example, one of our client did a launch where she announced the launch of her rewards app to her patients. And you can see she got 184 app downloads overnight, just really showing the amount of demand there can be for such a rewards program. This is kind of like an article explaining how to record this type of video for, if you're a client of ours. But the idea is like, if your entire team is on this thing, if all of your clients are using this thing, the switching costs, once again, you could argue, yes, we kind of have network effects going on here. The fourth one is going to be deep workflow embedding. So these are small little micro habits that you can give to your clients that make it so that the software, the system becomes kind of like a daily ritual for your clients. And because, for example, this is a system that the receptionist is going to be using to introduce the rewards program to all of their clients. And then the receptionist on her end, has an entire dashboard that she is familiar with, that she uses on a day-to-day basis. And so with all these processes on Dermis, the cost here is that by switching to a different software, they're going to have to learn all of this stuff from scratch, which is very painful. So what I learned here is that with all of these switching costs, what it means is that you don't own anything, but you control a lot of aspects within their business, which makes it so that you don't just build MRR, you don't just have MRR, but you have ARR. And at that point, when you have annual recurring revenue, that's when you're actually building an asset. Okay, that's when you're starting to play a different game where your retention is so strong that like your business now becomes a valuable asset. So just for context, businesses that have annual recurring revenue get a 10x valuation. So if you were to exit your business, you would literally receive 10 times more money at the sale, as opposed to if you just had MRR and say like a 15% churn rate, which is the average, or probably way higher for the average agency, or any other type of school community or any type of business. Well, that's a business, first of all, you can't sell because it's completely dependent on you. And second of all, that the churn is so high, people that invest or buy into your business don't have the predictability that they'll make their ROI, which is the thing that actually makes it less investable, less exitable as a business, okay? So if that doesn't give you enough reasons to like do this, honestly, I don't know what will. I get so many people in the comment section being like, yeah, but this is all like hypothetical and like like your SaaS isn't going anywhere. Like I am just giving you the facts of life. If you have stronger retention, you can exit your business. Yes, I didn't exit my business yet. Neither is this something I'm trying to brag about. But I'm just giving you the actual facts of like what is like the truth on a first principles basis of like how you actually make money. What are the secrets that when you look at the best companies in the world that you can kind of like take for yourself? And what are some of the things I've personally observed up to this point, seeing a sub 2% churn rate and getting monthly passive recurring revenue that I have personally experienced, okay? Yes, I'm not a genius. Like, sorry, maybe you don't like the way I express myself. Go watch an AI Mark Tilbury video. No one is stopping you. Go watch a mass market, Iman Gadzhi video. This channel is for people that actually have a business, first of all, that implement some of this stuff, and then actually understand that the core principle behind growing their business isn't acquiring more clients in a vacuum. It's retaining your clients, because that is the thing that funds your future acquisition, right? You don't build a business by just getting new clients in the door. Because if those clients leave, then you have a hamster wheel of a business. It's like you're going in circles. New client leaves, new client leaves. And it's like, the best analogy I can give is like you're filling up a bucket. Imagine this is a bucket, but because you have such a high churn rate, there's holes everywhere. So the bucket or the money flow is leaking literally everywhere, and you can never actually fill up the bucket. Whereas if you plug those holes, well, the water level would actually go up. And this water level is your revenue, okay? And so this is why the biggest businesses in the world, they grow through retention, not acquisition. The ability to retain your clients is more valuable than anything else. I don't care what you think. I don't care what your business teacher taught you. If you can't solve that fucking churn rate, nothing else, and I truly mean nothing else, is going to do it for you. We need to do something about this. So I present to you the B to B to C protocol. This is a protocol to penetrate the end consumer of the business you're serving. So if you think about what I'm doing with my company, this app is in the hands of the business's end consumer, their patients. It's not simply B to B. It's B to B to C, right? And this is how I made an entire video about this. You can watch it. The biggest businesses grow is that by, for example, if OpenTable were to disappear, then restaurants all over the world would panic, because how do people reserve their dinners or lunch at the restaurant if they don't have a thing to do it with? If the entire system breaks down, they can't. And so this is why you need to go B2B to C. in order to see that bedrock low churn rate. So here it is step by step. First, you want to define which category your clients fall under. So I've just outlined 2 categories here. I know there's more, but that is going to be home services or personal care. So I am personally in the personal care category. The reason this matters is because you want to identify what the lifeblood of their business is. So for example, in home services, the lifeblood of their business is going to be more leads, more jobs, more projects, right? So for example, for electricians, roofers, plumbers, HVAC, that's what makes their business tick. It is visibility. It is things like rankings. That's why they pay so much money for those types of softwares. I'm going to give you more of a detailed feature list right here. But if you look at personal care businesses, which are the types of businesses I serve, so I personally serve med spas and plastic surgeons. But if you think about dentists, chiropractors, nail salons, et cetera, massage therapists, they're actually not necessarily in the business of getting new clients. There's most of the time not of a big problem there, but they're in the business of maximizing their LTV. They're in the business of getting all the clients that book and then never book again to book again and again and again. So they are actually, their biggest pain point is solving their churn rate. So their ability to get repeat visits, people that come back, that foster that long-term relationship. Now that you identify what the most mission critical elements are in their business, what actually, when you peel back the layer, what makes them more money, you want to identify. And by the way, what makes a med spa more money, I know this is true because if you look at the fastest growing med spa, it's something called Skin Laundry. Skin Laundry has a valuation of 120 million. And their key to making this work is because they sell memberships. So literally through a retention business model, which is what I talked about here, which is why I told you the lifeblood of these personal care businesses isn't acquisition. It is actually retaining the patient, which is how they've been able to grow to $120 million valuation, because they understood that the core lifeblood, if you strip everything else, what matters is their clients coming back and getting facials every single month. So the proof is in the pudding. So next, what you want to do is that you want to pick the highest leverage features to sell, and ideally without rebuilding it from scratch. So we live in a time and a place where you don't need to be technical to offer this to your clients. You could use a software like Go High Level, and you can even see all of these businesses. So you could look up any one of these businesses, for example, 10x Advantage. These guys are white labeling Go High Level, so they put their own logo and are making over, I think if you are in this leaderboard, it means if you have over 100 sub accounts. So you can literally steal all of these businesses, copy what they are doing, and use it to retain your clients. Anyway, so if you're in this home services niche, what you want to be in is you want to be in this zone. You want to sell something that's easy to sell and that is high switching costs. So for example, one thing for roofers is going to be a mobile app from which they can see all of their leads, or from which they can send invoices to their leads. By the same way, for me, this is what I've personally observed, because we use a tool called Patient App to sell a mobile app to aesthetic practices. So if you're an agency owner and you want to reach a sub 2% churn rate, and you want to white label this where you can have your own logo right here, and give this to your clients and earn passive recurring revenue like I am right here. You can start a free trial. It's used by some of the biggest agencies, like for example, Cameron England. I don't know if you know him. You can also translate this, which is just a huge opportunity in itself. The market is so untapped here. If you were to, let's say translate this in Spanish or German, French, whatever. I'm getting ahead of myself. You want to sell features, for example, like a white label mobile app, patient financing, push notification marketing, things that are hot and easy to sell right now in 2026, which will get your foot in the door to get that retention and that sub 2% churn rate for yourself. Okay. And then step 4 is simple. You want to package this software bundle, or you can add a service, however you want to make it fancy. Step 4 is to now package it into an outcome-based offer that specifically addresses your market's pain points. So for example, I have used the patient app and I sell these features right here, and I've packaged that and I've sold it as a white label mobile app for skin clinics. So I made an entire video right here, which I'm going to link in the description, showing you exactly. So I show you exactly why clinics pay me every single month, pay me $10,000 a year for this, how the software works in itself, all the little technical things. And so my foot in the door approach to selling this is, hey, get a free custom branded mobile app in under 24 hours to give to your patients. Then just pay me anywhere from $350 to $665 a month to keep that system going, which obviously now, since I have the switching costs, I can do this, right? I can get away with an offer like this where it's free on the front end. I have this offer, which is free, and free is the most powerful word in business, in marketing. You know, compared to someone who is charging $2K a month up front, let's say this is his offer, pay me $2K a month. Who is the agency that is going to get the most clients? Obviously, it is this one with the free offer, the free app in 24 hours, which is something that you can do using the patient app. If you were to go for home service based businesses, another example is my friend Kai Stone. So he makes $350,000 a month with 5% churn rate. I made an entire interview with him that you can watch right here, where he literally breaks down like exactly how this all works, going through his funnels, his ads, literally everything. And so he uses obviously a tool called Go High Level and some other things to basically allow himself to make a winner takes all offer like this, where it's get a free SEO ranked website optimized to convert visitors into leads. So that's his offer. Get it for free, get it quickly, and then just pay me this amount for the security, hosting, and maintenance to keep your domain, to keep the website going, right? And so these are the marketing agencies that are winning today. They understand the concept of giving first and then controlling those deeper data and transaction layers so that their clients don't cancel. And the cost of not canceling is massive. Nowadays, the cost of not canceling is the cost of you not scaling your ad spend. Think about it. If you lose 5 clients every single quarter and those clients are worth $1,000 a month for you, well, that's $5,000 a month gone that you could have spent on growth, but you didn't because they left. And that's how going from B2B, where I used to sell a service, I used to make anywhere from 5 to 15K a month, and it was very much up and down. This is how I made this transition and just added this B2B to C layer. And now by selling info plus software, I make way more money. It's way more stable and it's passive. It's annual recurring revenue. So not only is it money that's coming in reliably, it's also an asset. So I can now easily exit and retire from this business. On top of that, less headache. I can just scale now without any additional employees. It's not a service, right? It's not babysitting my clients. It's just giving them access to the software. They use it and I don't even talk to them, right? I don't even know them. They just use my software and they pay me every single month. On top of that, because of the retention, I have a way better LTV to CAC ratio with way better profit margins because I don't have any employees. I don't have any overhead. And so this is how in the same niche, I've achieved a wildly different outcome. Okay. I used to jump on calls all day long. I used to constantly babysit my clients. This is me, by the way. This is me when I had my agency. Look at the posture. Look at the up and down of the revenue right here. I mean, this is nothing. This is nothing, right? This is me. Look at this. I had bags under my eyes because I was in the client account running ads for them Now, by the way, back in 2023, this was cool. This was considered the thing. And like, I used to get tons of views showing how I used to deliver results for my clients. But I'm telling you, that doesn't work anymore. You need to be able to pass the credit card renewal test. And with this model, I failed it every single time. Every single one of my clients that I used to have with this agency left. So this is why, if you're watching this for the love of God, you need to implement what I'm actually talking about here. You can keep because I know, here's the thing. I know you will watch this video and then you're going to click off. You're going to scroll on Instagram or you're going to jerk off. I know how this works, okay? So instead of doing that, what I'm asking you is very simple. I'm not asking you to buy a $9,000 course, which some people do, and it is very disappointing. What I'm asking you to consider is if you used the same tech stack that I use, which is the Patient app and Go High Level. So these are the only two softwares I use in my company. I use the Patient app, which allows me to give a mobile app that I sell to aesthetic practices within my marketing agency, which is the same exact thing you can do. And I use a software called Go High Level to get a bunch of leads and a full calendar every single day. Underneath this video, instead of the regular 14-day free trial, you have an extended 30-day free trial. What I want you to do is I want you to use both of those softwares, one or the other, it doesn't matter. And then once you do that, I want you to go on my Instagram at Thomas Garnett right here with 2 T's. I want you to send me a DM with a screenshot showing that you've started a trial of either the Patient app or Go High Level. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to reply to you and I'm going to give you all of our winning ads that is allowing us to spend thousands of dollars a month on ads. I'm going to send you all of our sales calls, all of our onboarding calls, not all of them, but a couple. And that's enough to get you to understand how this all works. Our email marketing templates, funnel templates, literally everything for you to just rip off my business so that you have no fucking excuses not to make this work. So with that said, I will see you in the DMs. Thank you for watching. Do not watch another video. Actually implement. Thank you.